Oh, hello. Welcome to another edition of Bradley J. That would be me, and Marco. That would be him for the show that we call Just Saying. Hello, Marco.
Hey Bradley, what's going on?
Oh, man. Let me tell you, I just got back from the dentist about an hour ago. I had a temporary crown here and I had to get the real crown. I had to get that put on. And they don't give you anything for it. The girl was like, "Oh, lay back. You'll be fine." So I laid back in the chair. She laid it back, very comfortable. And I thought, like, okay, I'm going to get a shot or two, to take this
hmm
out. She goes, "Oh, open your mouth. I'm just going to wiggle on it a little bit and get it ready." And I was like, okay. And that didn't really, I mean, you could feel some stuff, you could feel her jiggling it. And, excuse me. And so she got it all ready, did that, and then the dentist came in, and I thought, okay, maybe now they're going to give me a shot. Nope, nothing like that. Did everything, and then there was one part when she had to push the crown onto the tooth. She go, okay, you're going to feel a little zing, and I was like, oh god, no. I was like, I almost was like, just shoot me with something, pinch me, do something, whatever. Didn't, and it was kind of like you ever eat something cold and you just feel like your tooth, it's kind of like it hits you?
Yeah, like it's the nerves in it are telling you like, hey, something's not right here.
Yeah, really cold. That's what it felt like. And it kind of lasted. I mean, there was the initial of wham, and it hit me. And then it was just kind of like you could feel it was there. But now it's gone and it feels great. But here's the crazy thing. I got to go in for another crown, and I got a whole bunch of fillings left in my teeth. So I got a few more trips to the dentist. But that's what I've been doing before the show. But I am prepped. I am ready to go. And I want to start off talking about a subject that you and I love to talk about, moms.
Aw.
I know. I know.
We were just talking
So
about my mom before the show. We love
I
talking about
was.
our
I
mom
was.
so much.
I love your mom. I never met your mom, but the way you talk about your mom, I feel like I know her, and I want her to be like a second mom to me.
That's good. You can run the last minute chores then. I'll be the scheduled tour driver. You have to do all the stuff that's last minute chauffeuring.
Yeah, it was funny because we were talking before we were doing the show, and you had said you had to go help your mom. We were going to record the show earlier, and I messaged you, and I was like, "Man, do we do this on Tuesday at 3:30?" And you were like, "Yeah, but I can't do it today." How come? Why couldn't you do it yesterday?
Couldn't do it yesterday because there was a holdup at the Walgreens. First of all, that I went to yesterday, there was not a robbery or anything or sorts like that. Just was very busy. But I was like, all right, if I go make my errand, I can make it in time back in my apartment for our podcast recording. Well, since mother was in town yesterday getting her oil changed, she bought her car in Lawrence on purpose at a dealership so that she can make trips to Lawrence. So when she has her routine oil checkup, she can knock out her car and then she can go get lunch with her kids, that type of thing. Do anything that my little sister, who's a freshman up here, she needs done, which just happened to be yesterday. We got the trifecta of needing an oil change. Okay, went and got lunch. Car wasn't ready after lunch was done, so mom ran my errand with me, which took a little bit longer. Well, then little sister needed food for her cat, but you can only buy the cat food at Target. Mom mom was going to let her use her Target card. Doesn't trust the little sister with the Target credit card. So I had to go drop her off at her car, then go to the Target and get the cat food for little sister. So I dropped the food off at the little sister's place. Well, guess what? Cat needed not cat food, but cat litter. Needed cat litter as well. So even on top of all the stuff that was added to the to-do list, I still forgot one thing, and that was the cat litter. And I said, that's okay. The cat can go to the bathroom anywhere else.
Outside. Yeah,
Go
outside.
outside, go on the bed, go on the floor. It doesn't take that much to clean up after a pet, right?
Oh, and it's not your cat, so you don't care what the cat does or where it goes. But I like I told you, I'm cool with that, man. I was like, if mom's gonna be around, you got to spend time with mom. Moms
Yes.
are important, man, just like dads are. Dads, when they come around, you got to spend time with them. So it was cool, man. Let me tell you about my mom. I went home for Easter. I told you, and so we get done, we go through Easter. my sister and a couple of her kids, and some nieces and nephews and great nieces or great nephews came down. So it was a big family affair. And we go, we have Easter, everybody leaves. And it's just my mom and I, and I'm going to spend the night. I'm like, yeah, you know what, Mom, I'll spend the night. You're letting me do my laundry in your house. I'll come and spend the night with you. And she was like, "Oh, that's great, that's great." So at the night, I'm helping put stuff away, and I open a cupboard in my mom's kitchen. Open it up, and I see a glass with about a quarter of it full of water. And I looked at it, and I was like, "What? Who does this? What? Only my mom would put a quarter cup of water in a glass and stick it in the cupboard." And she comes walking out down the hall, and I said, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I go, "Why do you have a quarter glass of water in your cupboard?" And she's like, "You don't need to know."
Oh,
And that, yeah, and that piqued my
she's
interest
hiding
more.
secrets from you.
Well, she was saying that because she knew I wanted to know, and she was going to keep it a secret as long as she could, because I wasn't going anywhere. And so I was like, "Really? What? Like, what? I don't get it. What are you trying to do? What's going on? Well, like, why is this quarter cup of water in the cupboard?" And she was like, "Just shut the door and leave it alone." I was like, "Okay, you're weird," but I shut the door. Then we're sitting on the couch and stuff like that. Well, then it starts to bother her because she knows, and she really wants me to know. So she goes, "Do you really want to know what's in that glass of water in the cupboard?" I was like, "No, not now. Now I don't care. I don't care." That's the game we play. Like, she won't tell me, and then I know she wants to tell me, and now I don't want to know because she wants to tell me. That's the game my mom and I play when it comes to telling each other things. So eventually you, whoa, oh, I lost him. I lost Marco. I'm gonna have to invite him again. Hold on. I'll see if I can get him back. A technical difficulty. All right. I'm going to send this. Oh, there he is. He's back. I just sent you another link. Like, yeah, I don't know what happened. Did I do that?
No, I'm looking to see my router over here, and it just turned off completely. Wi-Fi just decided to shut off at a randomness. The TV was frozen. Everything just became a freeze, and like it kicked me out of the studio. And I'm like, oh, it's because the whole router just decided to shut off and do a maintenance restart for some reason.
I thought you didn't like my story about my mom and water, and so you just left.
No, it was. I got to the part where you were explaining why, and then it started doing those circles on me, and I'm like, all right, it's gonna reconnect at some point, and then it's like, nope, it just decided to. I'm so sorry about that.
No, that's not a problem. Not a problem, man. We'll get through it. We roll with the punches on this show. So anyway, we're sitting there, and she really wants me to know. So she goes, "I'm going to tell you why I have a glass of water in the cupboard." She goes, "I have a glass of water in the cupboard that's about a quarter full because when I take my pills, she has pills that she takes, and they're in the cupboard as well. And what's really weird too is the pills were upside down." And so she told me, she goes, "I want to go in and I don't want to drink like too hot water or too cold water." She goes, "I want room temperature water." And she goes, "So I put that water up in the cupboard. So when I go to take my pills, it's room temperature water and I can take the pills." And then I go, "So why are the pills turned upside down?" And she goes, "Because when I take them," she goes, "that's how I know if I've taken them." She goes, I'll take the pill bottle. It's turned upside, right side up. And she goes, "When I take it, I turn it upside down. And that way I've taken it." And I was like, "Okay, all right, whatever works for you, Mom." And she's like, "You think that's weird, don't you?" And I was like, I go, it's kind of genius weird, right?
Mm-hmm. It is. I like the pill bottle technique. That one makes more sense than the water in the cupboard, but the pill bottle one, I'm over here thinking like, okay, that's better than the pill cases one where you got to, because it saves you the time, it saves you the hassle of having to do my mom used to sort my grandma's pills for her, and she had like a 30-day one where my mom had to take time to put the right amount of pills in each day. Right there, that's just flipping it over, making sure you know which ones to take and which ones not to take.
That's true. That's true. So it is, because I told her, I go, you can kind of get lukewarm water if you put the faucet in the middle. She's like, "No." She's like, no, I don't like that. She goes, I like putting the water in the cupboard. I was like, okay, whatever, whatever. I go, that's where I get my weirdness from. If anybody wants to know, so
I was gonna
there's
say,
that. So that
do you have any water in the cupboard techniques?
no, not yet. I do at home. I will say this: I fill this whole thing up with water, put it in the refrigerator, and then the next day I put my little sugar-free drink mix in it, and then I bring it to work, and I drink this at work every day.
See, look,
That's what I.
even you have your own little tendencies.
Yeah, I guess I get it. I get it from my mom. So anyway, so what piqued your interest since the week that we've talked, my man?
Since the week that we talk, oh my goodness, it has been a week, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So this struck me when I was driving my mom around yesterday, and as she was adding to the chore list, I was trying to minimize it as much as I could. She was getting she wanted to stop at two different locations for gift cards because she was buying someone a birthday present, and so she wanted to stop at the two spots that this person shop at. And I was telling her, why don't you just Venmo her money? You know, I feel like, or Venmo your friend money. I feel like that's kind of the new wave because I know if I'm someone, if I'm receiving a gift, I would much prefer the universal spending, which is cash, versus the limited of a gift card. So maybe this is like a 2-for-1 type question, but if you're gifting someone a gift that you may not know as well, like this past weekend, Trevor Lawrence got married, and Jacksonville Jaguars fans found his wedding registry online and bought him a touchscreen toaster for touchscreen toasters. So what's a gift that you may buy someone that you don't know at a birthday party you're going to, that maybe you're tagging along with a friend, but you know you can't go empty-handed? Or if you're planning on, do you still do gift card routes if you're buying someone a gift, or are you just going to give them money?
Cash. It's always cash. Being a single guy, I'll tell you this, Marco. This is just so you know me a little bit better. Being a single guy, simple is the way I go. I like things simple. My life is pretty simple right now. You know my routine basically. I play Madden football. I love doing it. I love riding my bicycle. It's simple. I'll tell you something else about my bicycle after this. But to answer your question, cash is the easiest thing. Go to the ATM, get how much you want to give them, buy a card, put it in it, slide it on over. I will tell you this: you were talking about Venmo. Don't have it. Don't know if I should get it. I don't really know if I think I have a trust issue with that, with Venmo. I'll ask you: is Venmo is it reliable? Is it trustworthy? Is it the way that everybody's doing, like transfer of money?
I would say so. Yes, that's how most of me and my friends within my friend group. That's how we would pay each other per se. If someone picked up a tab somewhere, then the remaining friends who would have to pay that person back would just Venmo them. Cash App is another popular one that I don't use as much, but one of my friends from the East Coast, that's what he says that his friend group uses over there. And in fact, when he moved to Lawrence to go to KU, he had to create a Venmo because that's what most of the people at the university were using. But I would say so because that's something that my mom, she didn't trust it at first, but her friends were using it, and they were using it in the same way I just described with picking up tabs. So that kind of forced her hand to download it. So I would say Venmo is kind of like Venmo, Cash App. Electronic money transfers is kind of like the new future rather than carrying cash, having to worry about going to an ATM.
If your mom is using Venmo, this guy will use Venmo. If your mom trusts Venmo, I will trust Venmo because of your mom. Like I said, I can't wait to take your mom to like lunch and just like tell her that she's adopted me as her adoptive son, and I'm looking forward to learning all of her wise wisdom that she keeps in her head. I'll tell you, I was gonna tell you something, I was gonna ask you something. Oh, I know what it's gonna be. Since you deal with Venmo, do you carry cash on you just in case?
I do not. Not if you ask me right now how much cash I have in my wallet, I would tell you $0.
So you wouldn't be somebody to kidnap, or if you were out and about, you wouldn't be somebody to walk up on and be like, "Hey, man, give me all your cash." You'd be like, "I ain't got none."
Can I Venmo you? That's what I would say. Can I give you? Can I Venmo
Don't
you?
do that. You can't do that. You can't say, "Can I?" And then they're gonna be like, "Yeah, yeah, you can Venmo me. I'll go with you. Get on your Venmo and give me the cash."
There's a video I've seen on Facebook once where they made fun of people not carrying cash. And so like if someone came up and did attempt to rob you and take what you had in your wallet and you told them you didn't have any cash, like in my situation, the robber would pull out one of those credit card receivers that you can attach to your phone and be like, all right, pay me.
Here you go. I mean, it's weird now, like that. Oh, talking about money. Did you have any like crypto, like that crypto? Is it crypto cash or what do they call it?
Cryptocurrency.
Yeah, cryptocurrency. Do you have any of that?
I do. I'm invested in Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and Ethereum. Ethereum, something pronounced like that.
If you can't pronounce it, you shouldn't invest in it. I'm just saying. It's kind of like when you draft a fantasy football team. If you can't say the name, you shouldn't get to draft a player.
That's a good rule of thumb to live by. That's pretty funny. I like that one. The fantasy football one.
Yeah, because I can't remember whose name it was. It was a Cincinnati Bengals receiver, and he had people couldn't pronounce his name. It was a TV show I was watching, and they were I think what was that show called? Can't remember. But anyway, if you couldn't say the name, like you couldn't get the player. And he's a decent receiver too. I mean, he's a good number 2. But yeah, if you can't say what you're invested in, you shouldn't invest in it. I'm just saying. I have speaking of that, my niece's fiance, he had a book that he was reading. He posted on Facebook, and it said cryptocurrency for dummies.
Mm.
And he was reading it, and so I saw it. So when I saw him on Easter, I went to him. I go, "Hey man, I go, how's the reading of the cryptocurrency for dummies coming for you?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to read it again."
He didn't take notes. He didn't take notes.
I don't know. I mean, it's because my brother-in-law of my younger sister, they actually bought some Bitcoin, and so he's into it. But he's big into that kind of stuff anyway. So I haven't got into it. I probably should. I did realize though this, Marco. I watched John Oliver on Monday. The show's on HBO on Sunday, and I watch it the following day because it's on too late. I got to go to bed on Sunday. But I watched it, and he was talking about, and this is probably something you don't even worry about. Do you even worry about getting old or retirement or anything? Like, what are you going to do? Like, do you worry about it?
I just told you I invest my money into cryptocurrencies, and yes, I do. That is something I do. That is something I do worry about a lot. Yes.
Really? See, because you're what, 26? Is that right?
23.
23. See, 23. I was not thinking about like retirement. I wasn't thinking about taking care of myself when I get older. Now I'm 55, and I'm like, I watched John Oliver, and he was talking about nursing homes and assisted living, and like they were talking about how Medicaid and Medicare, and one of them takes care of this money for a while, and that I was like, I will not have enough money I don't think in 10 years to be in a nursing home or an assisted living home, like maybe for like a couple months. And I'm just like, I'm going to be someone, if I live long enough to go that, I'm going to be somebody I'll be out on the street. I'll be a homeless person, and I'll die somewhere in a street, and no one will know I'm dead. And my family will wonder, and be like, "Oh, we haven't heard from Brad in a while." It's like, who knows? I mean, it's scary, man. And at 23, it scares me that you're already worried about that. But it's good.
I'm not worried about dying in a ditch yet or anything.
No, but I mean, like retirement though. Like you're thinking about it at 23. Good for you.
Oh yeah. Who wants to? I don't know. It's just one of those things that I keep in the back of my head, just wanting to make sure I'm financially okay. That's one worry that I always will have, is wanting to be financially independent. I think that's just part of the independence and who we are too. We love our independence, don't we?
I don't like to say it out loud, but yes, I do.
I enjoy it. Hey, the simple life, just doing my own thing, doing our own thing, I guess I could say. But do you want to end up in a nursing home? That's kind of an abrupt question to ask. I'm sorry.
No, you can. That's what this show's about, man. Just taking questions and popping them off in your head, and then saying them out loud. I'm not married. and I have no kids. So where else am I going to end up when I get older? And like at 65 and retire? I mean, it's there's nobody's going to take care of me. My sisters have said, "Oh, we'll take care of you," but will they really take care of me? I mean, they say it, and people say a lot of things, but will they? Who knows? I mean, I'm sure they would. I would think that they would. I would try to be a good tenant, I guess, or whatever when I'm living there.
Roommate.
Yeah, roommate. It wouldn't be roommates because it'd be their house, and I would be a guest. So it's not a roommate because of But I mean, it just and somebody asked me like, "Oh, don't you want to live a long time?" And I'm like, "No, no, I don't. I'm, I mean, tomorrow if it happens, hey, good life, man. I did what I wanted and had fun. Time to go." People think it's so funny when I say that. When I'm like, "Oh yeah, if I die tomorrow, I'm good." And they're like, "Why would you say such a thing? What if you die tomorrow?" And I'm like, we don't know when we're going. It could happen at any time, anytime. But I will say this, Marco. So I want to tell you this story? Segueing
Mhm.
from death to a great, light, laughing story. So Easter, when I was home, I told you a story about my mom.
Yes.
Well, I have a nephew. He's 6 years old. His name is Tucker, and he's very rambunctious. He likes attention, which he's a lot like his great uncle Bradley. So anyway, so we're standing there we're sitting in the driveway in chairs, and all of a sudden he looks over and I have this glass like a quarter full of water that I've been drinking on, and he looks at me and he had this plastic egg because we'd had the Easter egg hunt, and I go, what are you thinking right now, Tucker? And he gets a big old smile on his face and he takes the egg and he goes over to the cup of water and he goes, boop, drops
Oh,
it in. Yeah. I was like, oh, you think that's funny? Taking that egg and putting it in Uncle Bradley's water? And he's like, yeah. I was like, yeah. How would you like me to throw this water on you? And he was like, he looked at me and he's like, go ahead, but hold on a second. And I was like, what do you mean, hold on a second? I'm not holding on a second. I'm throwing this water on you. He goes, hold on. I'll be back. So he takes off through the garage, walks in the house, takes his shirt off. And his mom, Abigail's like, what are you doing, Tucker? Why is your shirt off? And he's like, and he comes walking back out. And I was like, I'm going to throw water on him, Abby. And she's like, no, you're not. And my mom was like, you will not throw water on him. So I grabbed it, threw it right in his like upper chest, right here where it hit it, and it hit him like that. And he started laughing, and I was laughing. I go, see, I told you, that's what you get. Well, then we go to talking amongst ourselves. Well, Tucker, he leaves again. And then all of a sudden he comes back a couple minutes later and he's got a towel wrapped around him. And I was like, oh, and everyone's like going, why do you got a towel wrapped around you? What's going on? And he's like, oh, it was wet. And then like as he's turning to talk to everyone, because there's a big towel and he's not a real big kid yet. And the towel kind of opened up. The towel kind of opened up a little bit, and I happened to glance, when he did it. And I'm like, Tucker, do you have any clothes on underneath that towel? And he was like, no, they were wet. I had to take them off. So he's in a towel. You can't see anything like that. But then they were like, go put your clothes back on. So I wondered, are there any good stories about you as a child that you did something that people were just like, like, kind of like that? Uh-oh. I think he froze up. Nope, we lost Marco. No, wait. Where'd he go? Oh, I think we lost him again. He's there, but he's frozen. I don't know if we can get him. Oh, see if we can get him back or not. But it was crazy. Here's another story I'll tell you guys while I'm trying to get Marco back. Oh, are you there? There he is. I was going to tell a story about my sister, my older sister, who also, I'll tell you this, nakedness kind of runs in the family because my sister, when she was an only child, she was in Salina, Kansas, where my mom and dad lived. My mom had to leave, and my sister had run naked down to the liquor store, like a block in Salina. And then I think either she came back or somebody brought her back. So, Marco, is there any craziness as children in your family that you can remember or can tell as a story?
Oh yeah, I remember one time my brother he liked to test my parents and see how much trouble he could get into. And so there was one time that he was cussing and using curse words, and my mom said, my mom wanted to give him some soap in his mouth, and he starts running around the house from her and whatnot. And then he's just gotten out of the shower with a towel and everything. And he ends up just taking off outside the house, butt naked, and running around the neighborhood just naked because he didn't want to get caught and have soap put in his mouth because he was cussing. So I don't know what poised him to take off out the front door, knowing he had no clothes on, but he did in that situation, in that scenario. I've told you about me drawing on the walls. I guess that's the crazy kid in me. But even then, it wasn't like markers or anything, still crowns. Man, no, I wasn't real. For me, I wasn't a real troublemaker, but thinking of more with my siblings, they just like to test my parents' patience with antagonizing them. I wasn't much of an antagonizer. That was more the siblings.
You were a good kid, is what you are. I want to know if anybody has any stories. The email is bradleyj@94country.com. Email us with your if somebody got naked in your family. Email us because we want to know the story. And if it's a good story, we will read it on our next podcast next week. So any naked stories that you want to tell when you were a child. My sister running down the liquor store, my great nephew coming out in just a towel on Easter. I mean, when you're naked, you're almost naked on Easter. That's not a good thing, man. It's not a good thing. And Marco's brother running naked. I think every family has a good naked kid story that they can tell. So you can email me and we'll read your story and make us laugh next week. So there you go. So what else you got, man? Anything else happening in your? I know you lead an exciting single guy life, Marco.
Nothing really exciting in the single guy life. Routine is still the same. Get on Twitter each morning. Check Twitter, Facebook. I did find this interesting story on Twitter from Reuters Science. Now, you've shown me what an actual laser in space sounds like on your show before.
Yes.
And I got to ask you, Bradley, what is this is a musical question, I guess you say. What is one of your favorite instrument that someone else can play? Because I can't play. I can't play any instruments. Can you play any instruments?
I strummed. I have a guitar, which you know about. It's a Sarah Evans guitar. I strummed it, and I made a TikTok video out of it. And so far, I played the chords just once, and it sounded like it was in tune. I also played the saxophone in junior high and high school, so I can play, not real good.
I did not know about the saxophone part. That's nice. I like the saxophone a lot. Well, what was that?
The saxophone is the sexiest instrument in the woodwind family. I won't say it's the sexiest instrument ever, but I will say in the woodwind, because you got a clarinet, you got a bassoon, you got the other saxophones, the alto and the tenor saxophone, man, those things are sexy. And if you can play them well, like Kenny G, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Now, did you take on the saxophone for just wanting to play the saxophone, or were you trying to serenade someone or people?
I didn't play well enough to serenade anyone, but I took it up and I wanted to play the trombone in junior high, but in grade school when you could start playing instruments, and the musical teacher, said this to my mom and myself: "Your arms aren't long enough." And my mom thought this: "Don't you think his arms are going to grow?" She didn't say it, but she thought it. So then they were like, of course, when you're a musical teacher, you want to try to get all the instruments, all the different instruments in the band. And said, why don't you try a saxophone? And so I actually still have at my house the actual saxophone I played all those years. So next podcast, I'll bring in the saxophone and see if I can actually blow and play. How's that?
I would love that. If I still had my trumpet, I would say we could have a
jam session.
A jam session, a mini concert live. Lucky for me, I got rid of that thing a long time ago. Well, back to what I found on Twitter today. In Reuters Science, a team of researchers created a 3D model of spider webs. And they made a musical instrument using the spider webs using using sounds on the computers and mathematical algorithms. So I don't know. I was thinking, what would you do if you saw Charlotte the spider playing some musical themes on her web? That's
I
would be
would think
kind of.
that would be cool, man. That would definitely be one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. If Charlotte's and she played the web and made instruments. If you're going to tell me that my favorite instrument when it comes to music, the saxophone. Listen to a Billy Joel song, or Hall and Oates. They have the saxophone in there, and great solos, man. I love like the saxophone. I actually have albums of just a saxophone player playing the saxophone with background instruments, but it's more like the saxophone playing. It's cool, man. If I ever get married, that's the kind of music I'm having played at my wedding.
I can't agree with you more. Saxophone and piano are two of my favorite ones. I wouldn't have gotten through my college papers without piano and saxophone instrumental music types.
There you go. It's a perfect instrument for love. So there. Hey, I wanted to ask you before we wrap this thing up. I always have my little quick question, right? I only got one. Okay. I just have one for you today. And I want you to tell me and this has to do with your favorite thing. So do you have your favorite thing? Your favorite thing that you like to eat? Like what's your favorite thing?
My favorite, oh my goodness, probably TV.
Okay. Here's my question to wrap up this show. What's your least favorite part of your favorite thing? So your favorite thing is TV. What's your least favorite part of that?
Okay, easy answer is commercials, but long thought-provoking one is how many different things there are to watch on TV.
That's your least favorite thing about TV?
Yeah, there's just so many things to watch, and I want to watch everything, but I can't because there's endless. I would get nothing done, and I would stay unemployed if I did nothing but watch TV. I would stay single.
Unless you found somebody who loved TV.
Very true. That's very true.
That's my problem too, because people, when you're trying to meet someone, they're like, oh, what do you like to do? And I'm like, I like to watch movies and TV. Because I think the first thing that goes into somebody's mind when you tell them that is that, oh, so you're a lazy person. I'm like, I'm not lazy. I just like to I exercise and I can get out and I can do. It's almost like they think that's the only thing that you do is watch TV and movies and then go to the bathroom and eat and sleep. It's like, no, I have a mind and I can do other things but I enjoy watching TV and movies. Like if there was something like you're like, hey, what do you want to do? My first words out of my mouth would probably be, hey, let's just watch TV and a movie. And if the person said, I don't want to do that, I'm like, well, then what do you want to do? And let's go do that. That would be, I want to go take a walk and look at flowers. All right, let's go do that. I mean, it's just odd how people think like, oh, that's the only, like, when I say I play Madden football, they're like, I can't believe you waste time playing Madden football. I go, it's not my time. I'm not wasting my time. I love it. It may be a waste of your time, but you're not even playing it. So it's not a waste of anybody's time. So shut up. That's what I tell them. I'm like, zip it. Go do your favorite thing and go to sleep and take a nap and be lazy. You enjoy doing that? Do that. That's it. Stop.
We're
very simple.
We're very functional. We're simple but very functional people. We just choose the things that doesn't require a lot because it's what draws our interest, what we enjoy to do.
Sometimes I feel like I've had people on Instagram. I always see a lot of people doing stuff like they're on a trip somewhere very beautiful, and I'm always like, should I be doing that? Like, is that something I should be doing because everyone else is doing it? And then I'm like, no, I'm not like everybody else. I enjoy being at home. I'm okay with that. Like, it doesn't bother me. I don't need to go out and go hike up a mountain to a volcano. I mean, it would be nice if I had the, I'm always thinking about, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. There are things like that. I'm like, I'm okay with that. Cause I have a cousin that she's been everywhere, her and her husband. They've been to Egypt, I think. they saw the pyramids, which is cool. I'm like, that's cool, man. They're like, oh, wouldn't you love to go there? And I'm like, yeah, I could take it or leave it, you know. And
It's
then people get mad at you. They're like, I can't believe you wouldn't want to go see the pyramids. And I'm like, I can see them in a book.
That's very true. That's so. It's like I just saw them. Why would I need to go see them in person?
Yeah, and I get it, seeing it in person. Like people will be like, "Oh, it's not the same," and I go, "I get that, I get that." I go, but it's I don't know. I've never traveled when I was a kid. I was never raised on traveling to like exotic, different countries and stuff like that. The furthest my parents ever took me was to like Missouri or Colorado. That was a trip for us. That was a big deal for us going to see family in Colorado or going to a Royals game or somewhere else down in Missouri. We'd go, and that was a big trip, you know. And but otherwise, I wasn't raised to go like to England or Canada or I went to Mexico once for a wedding, and I was like, dang, this is expensive. Who can do this all the time? Like you got to be rich to travel. That's all I got to say. But
If
yeah,
if money can't buy you happiness, which I have some reason to doubt that a little bit, at least we can find happiness in our favorite chair with our favorite programs. Am I right? I mean,
you are.
I just spent the last 3 days watching the first two seasons of The Big Bang Theory. I've always wanted to start I always wanted to watch The Big Bang Theory from beginning to end, and I'm like, hey, that was time well spent. I got some good laughs out of that show.
That's a good bazinga. It's a good
Bazinga.
show, man. It's a good show. But you know, everybody's different though. You know, I always say if I had, you know, and people say like, oh, you don't need money, you can travel with. I'm like, you do need money. When people say that to me, it's always funny. They're like, you don't need money, and I'm like, yeah, you need money. I'm just saying, you do for everything, wherever you go, whatever you do, you need money. So there you go. All right, Marco. As always, a pleasure talking to you. We didn't solve the world's problems, but you know what? We have fun talking about the things that we talk about, and hopefully, if you guys, anybody that's watching this, if you got a subject you want to find out what Marco and I think about it, hit us up, man. Here's the email address. It's my personal one, or it's my one at work, BradleyJ at 94country.com. Let us know. And basically, if you guys want to know what the show's about, it's just about Marco and I observing the world, looking through our Twitter, our Instagram, our Facebook, living life. And all we do is we bring that back and we just talk about our observations and we just have a little fun with it, man. So we'd love to hear from you. Marco, you're looking good. Good luck on the job hunt. Tell your mom I got nothing but love and respect for her, and I can't wait to meet her.
That's all. Boom. You're the fifth sibling already. Welcome to the family.